Hello, hello. It's your astrologer friend Kimberly here with the astrology of Kim Kardashian on the night of her robbery. We're going to be looking at her secondary progressions, her astrocartography, and also combining those two techniques together to have a little look. And hopefully, this example will help you to use these in your own astrological consultations or looking at your own chart. The reason I came across this was because I found something very interesting in my own chart that really spoke to the astrocartography of the secondary progression. So I'll show that on another video. Kim Kardashian's example is way more interesting than mine, so I'm going to share my screen and we're going to walk through it together. Let's put that up as a tri-wheel. I'm using the astro.com, sorry, I'm using Astro Gold software to look at things here. As I said, we've got a tri-wheel. The inner wheel, the innermost wheel, is Kim Kardashian's natal chart. We then have her secondary progressions for the 2nd of October 2016 and the general collective transits for that time as well. Now, if this isn't a testament to the kind of proof of secondary progressions being really interesting and totally worth looking at, then I don't know what is, if this isn't it. So we have Jupiter making its return, not to her natal Jupiter in Virgo, but to her progressed Jupiter to the degree. We've got Jupiter there in Libra at 5 degrees 2 minutes and her natal, her progressed at 5:22. She's also having her Mars return again, not to her natal chart, but to her progressed chart. She also has transiting moon on the evening of the 2nd of October 2016 in Scorpio. So everybody was experiencing that Scorpio moon, but it was creeping on up on her progressed Venus in Scorpio. Now, when Kim Kardashian has described this night and how awful it was, she has said in very emotional terms and, expressing her feelings about that evening, how she thought she was literally near the end of life. And Scorpio is such a zodiac sign that we have connotations with, we associate it with trauma and death. It's a real spooky sign. It's Scorpio season when we have Halloween, the thinning of the veil. And so it really strikes me that this was a very impactful event for Kim. I've never heard her in any of her other interviews speaking about an incident which has really struck her as being so harrowing. And of course, thankfully, people don't have to go through too many harrowing experiences, but of course, this one was it for her. So the moon is considered in its sign of domicile, detriment, exaltation, fall. Moon is in fall in Scorpio, Venus is in detriment in Scorpio. So the condition of these two planets, according to traditional techniques, is not great. So the moon is not feeling good in Scorpio. The moon is exalted in Taurus. Venus is in its domicile sign in Taurus. So if these two were in the opposite signs of the zodiac, the opposite sign of the zodiac, the opposite seesaw sign of the zodiac, they would be really happy. We would be looking at a situation which was very positive, very good. As it happens, Venus is in Scorpio in those two outer wheel charts. So this is not feeling great. This is, of course, an evening of tragedy. Mars is the aggressor planet and is exalted in Capricorn. So we've got this really strong aggressor Mars and this really unhappy Venus moon. So that kind of speaks definitely to what is going on during this moment of attack. Then it's worth just again pointing out that Jupiter is the planet of abundance, of growth, of, expansion and wisdom. And jewelry can be associated with Jupiter. Riches, abundance, having jewelry, having a display of wealth could be considered very Jupiterian. It's also the planet of fame and prominence And in Kim Kardashian's chart, natally, she has it right there on the midheaven, which is the career point, the point of notoriety. So the fact that she is very famous and always, kind of has been a bit of a figure of a figure that is kind of a prominent figure, let's say. I mean, I've seen pictures of her in her youth, and she is definitely so beautiful. And so maybe just has always had that kind of charismatic prominence about her. Sun in Libra in the 11th house, so definitely kind of the popular kid, I would imagine. And this very, very heavily laden 10th house with that Jupiter, as I say, planet of luck, planet of abundance, planet of generosity on the midheaven point, opposite the moon in the 3rd house, which it really speaks to her sibling relationships. She's probably highly intuitive. She obviously has an ability to read into trends and anticipate what's coming. So she is probably quite has those spidey senses. That moon trine Uranus, flashes of genius when it comes to reading situations which are probably emotionally led. Quite great for sales, really, isn't it? Like that moon Uranus conjunction in Scorpio with that moon in Pisces as well there. So that's her natal chart. But really, when we get this progressed and transiting chart of the moment, that Jupiter then in Libra, up there at the prominent area of the chart, her notoriety not necessarily serving her because these robbers knew that she was going to be there. So the idea of Jupiter being jewels and wealth and demonstrations of abundance kind of working against her here, like her being this prominent figure, with all this valuables there. Not great. Anyway, so we've looked at the transits for that time. We've seen how it really is impressive the way that the progress chart is playing into this. How we're getting, the Mars return, the Jupiter return, the moon on Venus, Venus also in the same sign there as the progressed Venus. Now, let's look at her natal chart, her astrocartography map for the natal chart for Paris. Now, other astrologers have also looked at this map and commented on the fact that Paris does feature Uranus going right through it, and London, the same line is going through Paris and London. So Kim Kardashian natally has her astrocartography map featuring Uranus on the descendant in Paris. That means that whenever she's experiencing Paris or Parisians or Londoners or London, that she might be experiencing controversial figures. She might experience British people, people from London, as kind of maverick, unorthodox, controversial, wild, surprising, shocking, Uranian type people. She might have Uranian experiences through her travels to Europe, to those cities. In the UK, she also gets Chiron on her ascendant. She also gets Mars there, Mars on the descendant there in Germany, and Pluto. But particularly Paris, we've got that real sharp Uranus line running through Paris. So I've heard another astrologer talking about the influence of Pluto and Mars being within realm. However, I wanted to kind of like play around with this technique of then looking at the progress chart and the astrocartography for the progressions. So, because I found in my own chart something really, really interesting. So, pulling up that specific chart, we've got Mars. And remember, Mars is, of course, in Capricorn exalted. So, Kim personally experiencing that striking, strong, energy of Mars. And again, it's not in her first house now, it's setting. So external projection of a very, somebody who's enabled, somebody who's able to act out in a very aggressive way, striking while the iron's hot in Capricorn, which is in a very ambitious zodiac sign. So somebody says to themselves, our job tonight, boys, is to go and rob Kim, and so they do it. So that was a really unfortunate place for her to be. Perhaps if we were Kim Kardashian's astrologer and we were advising her, would we say, be wary, this could happen? Maybe. I mean, it's not a far cry to kind of see those transits and think that something is going on with that moon there as well, kicking things off. Nevertheless, I wanted to see when this Mars was exactly going through Paris. Now, this is kind of, again, take this in. With the AstroGold software, we can actually walk back and forward with the planets. So this is why I was kind of playing around with it with my own map, which I'll do in another video. So if we actually walk back, let me make this one smaller, we can actually see the Mars line of Paris, sorry, the Mars line over Paris. We can actually walk back. And what's fascinating is if we take it all the way back to when it's really hitting and conjunct Paris, the moon is also making an appearance too. And we walk the chart right back to December 25th, Christmas Day. Kim is getting a Moon-Mars conjunction over Paris. So moon would be rising for her. So she would have the moon on her ascendant on Christmas Day in 2013, and Mars would be on the descendant. So I did a quick search, I had a quick look what was going on with Kim. And you'll also see that her progressed moon was in Gemini. Of course, she's at this stage in life dating Kanye West. So the moon's in Gemini, Mars has just entered Capricorn. So I said, what was going on? Where was Kim Kardashian? Christmas 2013. She was in Calabasas, nothing out of the ordinary there, but she did go to Paris in January. So I was thinking to myself, I wonder if during that Christmas, Kim was planning her sightseeing trip with Kanye in Paris. I imagine she was. We can't ask her. Maybe one day we'll be Kim Kardashian's astrologer of choice. Or Chloe. Call me. I love you guys. I'll definitely be your personal astrologer. Nevertheless, Kim was stepping out with her Gemini moon rising. We'll have to look at Kanye's astrology another day. We don't have his exact confirmed birth time. Apparently he's Cancer rising Gemini sun, but we don't, we have to get that confirmed. But anyway, they're there on Getty Images enjoying a day out in Paris. And we can but wonder, given the absolute kind of accuracy of the astrology there, we can but wonder what was going on with Kim and Kanye at that time. Anyway, I can make guesses and think to myself, but we won't ever know unless we get it from the horse's mouth. Still, I think that's a pretty interesting exercise and way to use astrocartography, overlaying a person's natal chart, their progress chart, and the astrocartography of both. And also, just again, testament to the secondary progressions with special events. So if you're looking at a wedding, if you're looking at something that's going on for you, maybe have a look, pull up that secondary progression charts and transits to both the natal and the secondary progressions. My astrology mentor did encourage me to step away from the progressed ascendant. So I really like this technique where you can get a tri-wheel going. And another fun thing with this is that you can animate the I won't give you an example, but you can animate the charts so that you can really see the planets moving in real time, as it were, or sped up or slowed down or whatever they would be. Anyway, that's all from me on her chart for now. I have a lot more to say about Kim Kardashian and all the different events, so maybe I will make another video. But for now, signing off. Lots of love.